everyone there. I'm so glad to be here today to talk about what to do when somebody is get laid off because of AI. And I would like to propose about a path that those people can follow. I suppose that some are you, so maybe this information is interesting for you, right? So let's start. Let's go straight into the point. And for that, let me share here my presentation that I have prepared. So how we are going to structure this is first I'm going to explain you my ideas about what you can do in case that you are an AI-related layoff. And then afterwards, when I finish this, maybe 15 minutes, then we can go to the questions and you can ask me anything on the chat here in YouTube. And then I have a problem here, and then I will need my computer is on my table so I can read the chat here, okay? In the meantime that I am starting here. Okay, are you ready? Okay, let's go. Then what I want to talk about first is about the situation that probably if you are watching this presentation is that you got fired because of AI. And we can see here the trends of all the massive layouts that have happened in the main companies in the United States or even abroad. I mean, some of the United States at the beginning and then some other countries even. So that is massive, right? And most of the reasons is because of AI. So maybe one of you here in the audience, maybe you are one of the laid-offs. Then if that is the case, I would like to know on the chat if you can tell me which kind of job were you doing when you got laid off because of AI? Can you write it down on the chat so I can understand better what is your situation and then maybe provide you with more targeted advice in the session later. Okay, can you write it down? So let's see about your situation. What are you saying here on the chat? Let's see. Anybody wants to share the situation? So we have Sebastian Fournier, that he was a software engineer. Okay, and that's strange because, so why do you think that you have been laid off by AI, because of AI and not something else? Because software engineers, so what they are using is AI. In the companies, they are using AI in order to enhance their skills and then produce software faster and in theory better. So maybe you can share with us, Sebastian, what's some of the reasons if you want to. Again, we have also Fernando that says hi from industry as a technician. Okay, as a technician, but technician means manual labor. Okay, so that's also strange. That is due to AI. Okay, so I'm talking here about the cases where you have been fired because of AI. But anyway, the advices that I'm going to explain here, they also apply to any kind of reason. So if you have get fired and then you want to change and switch careers to robotics AI, that's perfect also, okay? So this applies. Don't worry about that, guys. I just wanted to understand better your situation so I can provide you better advice. Well, anyway, we'll continue. So if you have been fired, then you have two options to do this. The first one is to search for a new job in the same field that you have been fired or jump into something new. And that is what I am proposing to you, okay? So this presentation, this webinar is about this, about how you can jump into something new that you haven't done, which is to jump into AI robotics and do all these, participate in the creation of all those awesome tools that are going to be everywhere in our world in the next years, right? And then maybe you are thinking, wait a second, what are you telling, right? So how could it be that I'm going to switch from, I don't know, from an office job, I got laid off, and then now you're asking me to go into robotics. Okay, yeah, you can, if you want, to put the effort, okay? So you are equipped. And now more than ever, because we have a lot of tools at our service to learn the required skills and then apply them to find a job. So why I'm telling you to jump into AI robotics? This is the first question, right? So, okay, I get laid off. Maybe I can find another job. Yes, you can find another job if you want. For example, you can go to the ones that are going to be all the jobs that are about manipulation and that require a human to do some delicate tasks, then they have a big future, because those are going to be very difficult to be replaced by robots. So that will be like at the end of all the replacement of jobs by robots. But then AI robotics is one of those. For robots to create robots and to make intelligent robots, well, so that requires a big brain, and also to manipulate things, to create things from nothing, physical things. Then also AI robotics has a big future. We all agree on that, right? And it's a growing demand, and then high salaries, quite high salaries in that aspect. So that's the reason why I'm telling you about AI robotics. And another reason is because of vengeance. I think that it can be very interesting to come back to the one that get you laid off. So you come with a vengeance, and then you are building the things that were replacing you. So you are on the back again to the top of the chain, the power chain, right? So now let's go and discuss about what the steps to get a robotics job, in case that I have convinced you that it's a good path to follow for your career. So you need to understand one thing. Maybe you are thinking, oh, but I don't have a degree, but I didn't go to the university to study engineering and so on. Okay, so now at present, many jobs in robotics and AI, they are not requiring a degree. So that is true, because a degree is now is pervasive everywhere, and actually doesn't demonstrate that you have the skills that are required for the job. And that is the main point I want to show. It's not required to have a degree, but you need to have the skills. You need to have the skills required to build robots and AI for robots. And you need to show it. So, and show it, by showing, I don't mean, hey, I have a certificate from this place, from this other place. It's not that. You need to show your projects, the things that you have done, and they need to be public for access to the employers. So only by showing this, you will be demonstrating in reality that you have the skills. Okay? And getting those skills doesn't require to go to the university. Actually, in the university, you are acquiring a lot of skills that are very good, but they are too theoretical. They are too more focused on the path of going about doing research in robotics or research in AI, but not that much on having a robotics job at a company developing robotics products. I mean, this knowledge that you learn at the university, it is also very good. They will help you if you have it, but they are not mandatory in order to be working on that job. So, what are those skills that you need to learn before you go to get a job? So that's the path. You need to get the skills. Okay, so what? I have divided those skills into three main parts. First one is the software development skills. So you need to know how to program computers and robots. Okay. Then you need to have some robotics and AI skills, which is about how robots work, how AI techniques, how different algorithms and so on for AI. And then finally, you need to have some soft skills. Then let me go a little bit deeper into those skills, and which are. So you need to be taking notes maybe or capturing the screen about this data. And I'm going to be providing you a lot of useful data also for all the steps that you need to take. So please take notes, take screenshots of the, take pictures, whatever, okay? There's a lot of information I'm going to throw at you right now so you can take action. And before continuing, let me go into this thing because this is very important. You can go into this direction independently of what is your current situation, okay? I don't care about what is your situation. I am pretty sure you can go in this direction if you want to, and you want to put the effort. Okay? I'm not saying this is easy, that it is going to be fast. I'm not saying this, okay? I'm saying that I'm going to propose you a path that you can follow for sure. And you can minimize the amount of time, you can minimize the amount of money spent. It depends on you or how. So the more money you spend, the faster you will go, and those kind of things, okay? But you can do it. That's what I want to stress. Then please take note of these things that I am telling you, and then you will have like a path that you can follow, and you can be moving on this direction in case that you want. Okay, let me go continue. So those are the skills. You need to be learning about languages, C++, Python, and Linux. Those are the basics. This is basic right now. You need to know about that. If you know some of them, then it's perfect already. Then about programming, design patterns, software engineer. So those are basic subjects that you can look on the internet for different courses online, for YouTube videos, I don't know, books also. You can be checking for all those subjects. And also technologies. Technologies are the different tools, software tools that we are using in order to build the programs for the robots. And here there's a very large list of stuff, right? That you need, oh, I have to learn all this. No. So I am telling you like the complete set. But if you start to study things in the way I'm going to propose you, you will see that they will start to be required, and some of them they will not, because it depends also on the path that you are following, more on specific AI algorithms, more on hardware, more on general skills. It depends, okay? So you will see which one of those are required. Okay, stay with me for a minute, okay? So this is a general list for software development skills. You don't need to learn all of them. Then for robotics and AI, so those are the basic subjects that you need to learn for robotics, and those are for AI. As again, here is very broad, and then you will be learning, for example, if you are interested on robots that are going to identify objects. So you are not going to need fleet management. Fleet management is for getting several robots work together for example, in a warehouse together, so without interruption, which robot has to go to this place and the other robot has to wait for this one to finish, and how to coordinate all this. So for computer vision, if you want to make robots learn how to recognize objects, then you don't need to do the fleet management, but concentrate on computer vision, and so on. Okay, so that's how it works. So this is a comprehensive list of subjects that you may need. To acquire those skills, what I propose you to do is, first of all, you can go to the different online academies that provide those subjects. Then, for example, one is a Udacity, and then you can check here one master in AI, and they have different programs. Another one is Coursera, very famous. Those two are very famous. And they have different programs for everything. And then you need to select of which ones. And of course, you can go and visit us, our company, the Construct Robotics Institute, and we have a specific program for this, which is called the Robotics Developer Masterclass. I'm going to tell you more about this later. Okay, so those are some examples. Go online, search for the courses that provide the subjects. Okay. But when you are learning those subjects, you don't go to those subjects like, okay, which one I'm going to learn right now? You need to go by trying to build something. So for example, you can search on YouTube for a video of a guy that is building a robot, a humanoid robot, or is making a drone fly by itself, avoiding obstacles in an environment. Then you try to reproduce this. So there's plenty of projects in YouTube of this kind, of guys that are teaching you how to do those things in a short way. Okay? And they are assuming that you have some of those skills. So you get one of those projects that interests you. It could be software, it could be hardware, it could be a combination of those. It could be something like for electronics only, or for mechanics only also. You get that one, and then you start to reproduce its results by building something. Building could be building something physical, or could be building programs also, okay? But you need to be doing something that needs to work properly. So having this project, it will provide you with a guide for your learning. It will tell you, oh, I have some lack here, so how can I learn about this that I am lacking to understand right now? Then you go and search for the course that takes at the Coursera or Udacity or the Construct, whatever. Then you learn that subject, and then you apply to your project. By doing this, you will be learning so much faster, and also you will be putting into practice all the things that you are learning from that theory in the project that you are building. And that is going to be making you acquire all the things that are related to that project that you are building. Also, you can get quick feedback by building, because so you will see that it doesn't work, and then trying to figure out why it doesn't work, then is telling you the feedback that something is missing there. Maybe you are doing something wrong, maybe you didn't understand something. That's the feedback that you need in order to learn more and move. It's like steering your learning from a direction. And finally, the final reason is very important. You will be creating a portfolio. So you need to be creating that, because a portfolio is what I mentioned to you. You need to have the skills, but also show the skills. You need to be showing that you have done this. So you need to create a portfolio that shows what you are doing. I will tell you more about this in a minute. Then about the soft skills. So we have talked about the programming skills, the software skills, the hardware, the robotics and AI skills, and now the soft skills. So you not only need to be able to understand robotics, programming, and so on, but you also need to have some soft skills in order to work in a team. That is important. So in case that you don't have yet. Then the two main important skills are leadership and communication. Those are the most important one. And what I recommend you is that you acquire those skills by joining a Toastmasters club. The Toastmaster is a free organization that has clubs all around the world, and that helps you to talk so how to express your ideas so the public can understand you, you can engage the audience, and you can make it so attractive for the audience to listen to you. And also it teaches you about leadership, about how to manage other people, how to work in an environment where you have to collaborate with other people, and so on. So that's my recommendation, that you join this. Then another thing that you need to do is to start doing networking. You need to be starting to connect with all other people that are in the same field. I mean, in robotics, in the subject that interests you. So you need to attend conferences or workshops and reunions about the subject of AI and robotics that interests you. For that, what I recommend you is that you join this mailing list, which is called the Robotics Worldwide List. This is a mailing list that is sending you information every day about events, about opportunities. Also, it's not only events, trainings, it's about conferences, it's about job positions, PhD positions, internships. So you need to, if you are listening to this, you don't want to do anything else that I have said, just join this and you will see. Okay, just the first one. And you will see, you will still start to receive information of different things that happen in the robotics world, around the world. And then you can get like, oh, I like this. Then you can introduce into one of the emails and then start like guiding your path towards what you want to go and do in robotics and AI. So I mentioned about how to get the different skills. And then another thing that I wanted to mention is that you need to create a portfolio. It's very important because it's the only way that you can show to your future employers that you know your skills if you don't have a degree. Okay, if you have a degree is requested in many jobs just because it's a filter. It's a filter. So I have to receive 2,000 job applications, and how can I filter this? Then the ones that have the degree. That's that easy. Okay, and then you discard all the others, even if there are the very good ones on those, but then the degree serves as a filter. So that's the usefulness at present of the degree. But this is getting less and less required in robotics job. Because at the end, what we want at the companies is to get the guy who knows how to do the things, not the one that has the degree and has made, I don't know, I cannot know if this guy has done it using ChatGPT, the whole degree, I don't know. So, but if you show me this project in your portfolio, and I can go and check your portfolio and see and ask you questions about that, and then you answer me, then that's the way. Okay, I know. So here I have put a link of an example of a portfolio, or the QR code is the same, of an example portfolio that you can check and then try to recreate your portfolio in the same way. That will be attractive. And this explains, actually, this link explains how to create your own portfolio in detail. Then another thing that you can do once you have a certain amount of knowledge is to get an internship. An internship is awesome because it allows you to practice in a real scenario, which is a company, your robotics skills. And also you will learn so much. You will learn so much. It's like when you are learning a language, I don't know if you have had to learn a language, and then you study in your own country, you study the language, and then, oh, it looks like I'm a good student, I'm doing well, and then you go to the country of that language, and then you start to see, oh my God, I don't understand anything that they are telling to me. So that's the same that happens with the internship. You study, you do a lot of things, and then you go to the company, and then, what is this? No, why nobody told me about this? You know, and then that's no problem. This is the normal path. So you go through there, and then you push also through the internship, and then you win this valuable experience. And you reach another level. So how to get internships? Join the Robotics Worldwide list that I mentioned before, and then you will get a lot of offers there, and you can apply. Then also I would like to recommend you to join the Construct Career Guidance channel. This is another channel that we have set up for people who are looking to build a career in AI robotics and answering the questions, helping, providing ideas, guidance, and so on. So you can join. It's a Discord channel here. Okay, so I have explained a lot of things that you have to do. You study here, check these subjects, build some projects, build your portfolio, internships, and so on. But maybe you think that all this is too overwhelming because, well, okay, so but I don't know where to start from. Okay, then here we are. Here we are, the construct. We are here to help you. So this is the dragon that is so difficult to get an AI robotics job. This is you, and here are the construct providing you with the sword and the shield that is going to help you to destroy the dragon and get finally the AI robotics job. So for that we have created a program, a specific program for this, which is called the Robotics Developer Masterclass. And this is a specific path that starts with zero knowledge. Okay, you need to have you need to at least to have finished high school, and have finished or have this knowledge. And from that point, we are guiding you through the whole process. We start with learning the basics of Linux and Python, and then we go to the basic programming skills that you need to be using on the rest of the path. Then once you get all the basic programming skills, then you are going to start learning how to build AI skills in robots in this area here. Then you are going to be learning the basic robotics theory that you need to learn, the minimum amount that you need to learn in order to work at a company that produces robotics products. And then you are going to learn all the tools, the software tools that are used in companies for producing real products, robust products, not just something that works on my desk or on my computer. So you need to learn this. Then finally, you are going to do a project where you apply everything. And then you will get into the internship phase where you can get hired afterwards. Yes. So all this path is provided one after another. And while you are doing this path, you will be doing many projects. So this is an online course. Okay, so it's online. You don't have to come to our offices. You can do it from your own. And then you will be using simulations. You see here a warehouse, a small warehouse that we have built. And then here is the real robot that you will be using. So you will be connecting from your location. You will be using the simulation and then connect to the real robot with some cameras. You can see the robot, what the robot is doing, and you will be executing your programs in the robot itself. Here is another of the labs. It's an arm that needs to use the perception in order to grab, and those are the cameras that you can see of the lab and what the robot does and so on. We also will send you all the pieces for building a basic robot. So you need to know this. Even if you are working more on software, even you need this. You need to learn which are the basic parts of a robot and how they connect between them. For the basic professional robot. It's not a toy, this one. It's a professional real robot. So you will receive all the pieces at your home, and then you will be following the instructions and then doing some things on top of that once you have created the robot. And we'll teach you how to do a portfolio also. Actually, the portfolio is being created by all the projects that you are doing along the path. Along the path, you need to do several projects like this slide shows. Some are in simulation, some are in real, and you need to be doing all of them, and then they automatically create a portfolio that you can show later to your future employers. And once you finish, you will get an internship in some company around the world. This internship could be remote or on place. It depends on the circumstances of everyone and the companies. That depends. But you will get an internship. This is 100% assured. And we are starting a new batch in 2026 in March. This is the new batch. It's going to be our 10th batch already. So we have done this 10 times already. Then we are introducing a new batch, which is the consultancy jobs program. That means that once you have finished your internship, for the better students, we are going to hire you for a consultancy job. So the Construct, our company, that receives a lot of offers for helping them to solve some problems in the robotics project. But we don't have the time to do it because we are managing those programs, those learning programs. So for this batch, we have introduced that we are going to take those consultancy jobs and then put you on charge of the different tasks that are required for those consultancy jobs. So you will be solving the jobs under our guidance, of course, but you will be solving the jobs. This is not for all the students, but for the excellent students. You need to be a good student, not only just finish, but you need to be pushing, and we need to be seeing that you are very good and very compromised with the knowledge and learning. So that's what we call the Robotics Developer Masterclass. It starts on March. It's about 1,000 hours. Usually, if you are fully dedicated, it's 6 months of time, more or less. And then there is a price which is 999 per month. So each month that you are on the program, you need to be paying $999 per month. It starts on March, and it requires about 6 months if you dedicate 40 hours per week minimum. Then, because you have attended this session, we are offering this coupon code that you can use to get a 14% discount, but only if you enroll the program before the 25th of January. It's by the end of this week. Okay? If you enroll before that, then you will get this 14% discount. And that's all that I wanted to explain to you. So now let me go to the chat and see about the questions. So now it's questions time, okay? Let me start from the beginning. Then here we have some of the questions that says, Sebastian, he was answering to my question, and he says, because people with AI and seniority are better? Okay. Yeah, maybe you get laid off because I understand. Because AI is helping the programmers, the software developers, the software engineers, is helping to manage more things. So one single engineer can manage more things. So they are going to provide this to the senior guys because they have more experience. So they are getting laid off. They are laying off all the junior guys. Yes, this is true. This is true. I understand. Then Michael says, hi, so my degree is in mechatronics and automatic control and are completely useless today? Not at all. This guy who doesn't work at school is going to get same salary than me? Thank you for your point of view, sir. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, so here, I don't know if I am understanding. This is a very good question. So you say, my degree is in mechatronics and automatic control are completely useless today? No. The answer is no, because you got a lot of knowledge. You got from that degree, I suspect, that you learn and you have a lot of knowledge in there. Now, you say, this guy who doesn't work at school is going to get same salary than me, then this, I don't know. It depends on what you can provide to the company and what the other guy can provide to the same company. That's not these degrees doesn't have anything to do. What it's here is what can you do and what the other guy can do. If you can do the same thing as the other guy, okay, so that's another issue. Then I don't know how they are going to solve this at the company. Probably you have more points if you are at the same level. But if the other guy can do better things than you, faster, more robust code, I don't know, better robot skills, then of course he will get a better job than you and better salary, because the salary is not based on the degree that one has. It's based on what you can provide to the company that is building the robotics. So if you have this degree of mechatronics, you are in a better starting position, because you know, first you have the credentials that many companies are asking for. So many companies still are asking for those credentials. So the people who doesn't have, get discarded directly. Many companies yet. But this is going less and less. And also you have the knowledge. So what I think that in your case, what is lacking is the practice. If I don't know your degree, but in general, the degrees, they are not preparing you for working at a company. They are preparing you for getting knowledge. Okay, so you lack this. Then, if you want to win the other guy, then go and acquire the skills. Do projects in mechatronics and automatic control. Do projects, show them on the screen. And then you will be unbeatable in that case, because you have the degrees, you have a lot of knowledge, and you have also your practice that you can show. Okay? And what I am explaining here is for guys who doesn't have that. Well, it's for everyone, okay? But I'm providing also an opportunity to the guys who didn't get a degree. I'm explaining a path that they can take and doesn't involve to get into a degree. Then at the young side says, he said that it is possible to get a job without a degree. Yeah, that's it, exactly. I don't think he was trying to imply that degrees are fully irrelevant. Exactly, yes. So, yeah, so that's exactly, yes. And then Sebastian Fournier, he is also explaining the same thing. I think it said that you can demonstrate skills with a project or a portfolio, and that is paying more than showing a certificate or a diploma. This is true, specifically in robotics, yes. Then XLearn says, is MATLAB necessary skill for robotics or UAVs? Okay, for working at a company, in general, no. Nobody is using MATLAB at a company for building products. MATLAB is used in the universities for simplifying things, so they can teach you the concepts in a simpler way. Okay, so it's very good for that. Also, MATLAB is very good for research, because in research, you don't need to be building products. You need to be testing ideas, hypotheses as fast as possible, and MATLAB helps you to do that, because it has already all those libraries integrated that allow you to do the test, the mathematical equations implementation, the tests in simulations also. So it's very useful. But in general, at the companies, they don't use MATLAB in general, unless they have a research area, which is very rare. Okay, so companies, they don't have a research unless they are very big and they want to push the limits. They want to work on pushing the limits. But for example, let me give you an example. Those robots that are working at the restaurant and they are moving around, this is not the latest technology. This exists from many, many years. They are not using MATLAB for sure. I don't know. I haven't been there, but for what do they need this to use MATLAB? No, because the technology they are using already exists from many, many years. They are creating products applying those technologies. And MATLAB is more for showing ideas quickly and for doing research also, for doing experiments about what will happen if we do this very quickly without having to build the whole thing. Then, let me see. So, is it possible to enroll in an internship without being backed by an education institution? Yes, it is possible. Join the robotics worldwide list, this one. Yeah, this one. And you will see there appear a lot of internships. It is more difficult. Yes, it is more difficult, but it's not impossible. It's not a requirement that you get backed by an internship. So what we do in our program, we provide these internships, because we talk to those guys, and then we show them, to the guys of the companies, and then we show that, hey, we have these guys that are prepared with this, so we are backing you up also. But you can do it by yourself. It's just going to take you more time and more effort. You will need to be demonstrating and doing some tests, and so it's more difficult. But definitely you can achieve that. Then it says, in the US, internship is just a job. Educators may work with employers, but there is no requirement other than no low pay. Okay, I don't understand very well this sentence. Okay, I don't understand. If you can rephrase, please, arrugadas, please. Then, how much is the course? How long it is? Yeah, so it depends. If you are talking about the ones that we provide at the construct, so the construct is about 1,000 hours. So if you dedicate 40 hours per week, then it will take you for 6 months. And then you are asking the cost. How much is the course? Cost is $999 per month. But with this coupon code, you can get a 14% discount. Only if you enroll before the by the end of 25th of January. Then, could a network engineer make a switch to robotics in the 40s? Yes, definitely. Yes, that's why we build this program, for this kind of guys, people who want to make a switch of the career. And as network engineers, you have a lot already you know about engineering. You have the engineering mind already, which is the most important thing, I think. So you have the experience. You are lacking the skills, but you have the experience. The experience, I mean, this is one of the problems that we have when teaching this program to young adults. Young adults, then the problem is that they get this program and then they get the knowledge. They know how to do the things, but they lack the experience. And this experience you can only get by years of doing it. It's only. Then one of the problems in robotics, why it's so difficult, is because things doesn't work. It's terrible. It's terrible because in the robot, nothing is stable. In your computer is always like it is. It's not modified by anything. Nobody is injecting new experiences into the robot, into the computer, or in the phone. So the hardware is the same. The situation where it works is the same in the phone, in the computer. But in the robot, no. The robot needs to go from here to there. And then today there are two people in the middle, and tomorrow there is a small child, and then the other day is a handbag, somebody left it there. So the situations are completely different and unexpected. So you need to build robots that are able to work on those circumstances. That's very difficult. Then here is where experience comes when it doesn't work, to understand, oh, that is failing. What can I try to solve this problem, this situation? What can I do? And this is a skill that gets, so you acquire this skill by doing it a lot of time. Then as a working engineer, you have this skill about thinking about, from the tools that you have, what can you use in order to solve the problem? Because you have experienced this a lot of times in your trying to solve the problems in the working, for sure. I'm pretty sure, with 40 years. Okay, then, as for the age, don't worry about the age. I mean, don't worry. In my opinion, okay. So that doesn't matter. Actually, at present, the senior engineers are getting more higher than juniors, because the companies, they want this type of way of doing things, of being in comparison with the young people, so they are looking more for seniors, because they have this experience, or let's say this ability to overcome situations that are stuck. Okay, and then for the juniors, for the young people that are watching to me, don't worry. So that doesn't mean that you have no chance. That's not what I mean. I mean, everyone has more probabilities in one sense and more probabilities in the other. Okay, so each one of you have your own card. And what I mean is, as all of you, you can achieve it. You can achieve it. But the only point is that you have to work hard for this. So that means knowing the skills and showing them. Show it. Don't show me a certificate. Don't show me, okay, you got a certificate, excellent. We provide a certificate also, because some people, they like to have this. And you can show you have the certificate. Okay, perfect, no problem. But that's not what matters. What matters is what you can do. And you can learn how to do it, for sure. Let me see. Hey, I am a student from robotics and automation. Does this course can replace my degree? And if yes, does the certificate have same value as a degree? Okay, so no, we cannot replace. We are not trying to replace a degree, because we are teaching different things. So your degree is not teaching you about, very likely, I don't know, about the ROS to basics, they are teaching you more than what your degree is teaching you is more on the third phase. But all the other things, which are how to do things, how to program properly, how to make the programs that they don't break, how to make the programs that make the robot do what it has to do for manipulation, for perception, for navigation, not the theory. Not the, okay, this is the equation, and then you apply this filter. Okay, yeah, that's very good. That's very good. But now what I want this robot to recognize the can of Coke. So that's what we are teaching. Make this robot do this. Make the robot identify where is the shelf with the boxes, get underneath, grab it, and put it on the other side of the room. So that has to work. And the equations and all this, that's okay, but you don't need to, you are not going to implement, not 90% of the engineers, they don't need to implement those equations. If you know them, that's very good, because then you have deeper understanding of what is happening there. Okay, that's very, very good. But at the end, what matters is if the robot is able to do the job. That's what it matters, and that's what we are teaching you, how to do those things. And then also, on top of that, we are teaching you on this area, on the fourth area, is about all the tools that are used in a production environment of a robotics company. So how to not only make the robot work, do this, but also how to ship this into a product. For that, your level of the program needs to go to another level, or your level of the hardware has to go to another level. And because it has to be robust. That means it's not only working today, but also tomorrow at different time, at different conditions, and so on, so on. So how do you achieve that? For that, you need to have continuous integration, you need testing, use Jenkins, Dockerize, all those concepts, how to use all those inside a robotics development environment. Then we have Eva that says, MATLAB is useful for auto-coding if your company follows standards, and easier to visualize algorithms outcomes with simulations. Okay, thank you for your comment, Evra Michael. Thank you. Then Sebastian Fournier says, since robotics is a large field with a lot of topics, which would be the best topics to go first and to focus on? Okay, so that depends on you. What I would recommend you is the first thing is that you try to do something like this, like a simple robot that contains different sensors and has some motors to move around, and then understand how all the parts work together. They are composed. The other robots, they have the same parts but more complex and bigger. Okay, so, but they basically have the same parts. They have a battery system. This battery system is going to a board that needs to deliver the battery to different places in the robot, okay? For the arms, to the sensors, to the motors, so all the parts. So you need a distribution board. Then also one of the boards needs to go to the wheels for sure, but the wheels cannot just accept the batteries. They need to get the battery power and then power it up so it can move actually the motors from the battery. But also they need some coding signals, and these coding signals need to be provided by the computer of the robot that is deciding which one is the next velocity, but you cannot send the velocity directly to the motors. So you need to convert into some other. So all those things that I'm telling you and more, so they are composed into a simple robot like this. So what I would suggest you is that you get one of the robots. You can, if you want to buy ours, it's okay. It's called Fastbot. You look for Fastbot, and we serve in a box like this one. Let me switch. So like this one. So, and we provide the whole material, all the elements that you need, and the instructions and so on. So you can get one of those if you want, or another from another brand. And there are plenty in the internet. And then start building it, and you will learn how it works, all the parts, and then finally then go and make it navigate autonomously. That will be the main skill. By trying to do this, you are going to learn a lot of programming about Linux, about ROS, because ROS is the framework that we use. There are other frameworks, and they more or less work the same way. So we are using ROS because it's open and it's very good also. So you will learn about ROS and also about the skills of navigation, which different skills. Navigation is just moving the robot autonomously, avoiding obstacles. That requires a lot of skills, path planning, mapping, SLAM, localization, etc. So that would be like my recommendation for you to start with. Then have Arrugadas, just noting that an internship is just a role or job title. It's not a form of formal education outside physicians and architects. Okay, now I understand your question. And then with all the respects, okay, so I do not agree on this. So with my respect, okay, to your opinion, this is my vision of how to see an internship. Actually, you should not concentrate on the internship, on what is paying you. Okay, so that's not the point of the internship. The internship is for you to learn as much as possible and acquire the best experience, as much experience as possible. That should be your criteria, not the amount of money. Because the internship is just a short amount of time that you are doing this, and that money that you're going to win, this is not going to save your life. And that is an opportunity for you, first, to learn a lot, practice a lot, but also to demonstrate to the guys who got you on the internship that you are like awesome. This is the best opportunity because they need to hire people all the time. And then it's very difficult to hire people, and the proper people. There is a risk because it's difficult to identify who is the good guy for your team. But if you are going to the internship and you show how good you are every day that you are there, then a lot of chances are that you are going to get hired by that company because they need it and they know you already, so why to look elsewhere? So I would concentrate on this, in the internship, on this point, on trying to get as much experience, learn, like absorb that situation. It's a short amount of time in your life, absorb it, and also demonstrate how good you are. That is my opinion, okay? So your opinion is also valid. It's another way of seeing the internship. And then there is another one that says, got a job in automation and robotics, as a robotics specialist, mainly writing software for Fanuc and blah, 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 6-axis. Why do industrial robot skills set differ so much from ROS2 based robot companies? Oh, yeah, that's easy because of business. Yeah, so, of course, those companies, they have their own systems. They have an interim system of different things, different parts that they are producing money to those companies. By introducing ROS, this will break this. And then they don't want to do it. That's the reason. Why to change? This is a similar situation of what is, for example, in Europe. We are based on Spain, okay? So I'm from Spain. Then in Europe, we have a problem with the cars, with the car companies. They are getting obsolete because they have been doing like the fuel engines all the time, and they didn't pay much attention to the electric cars. But now, all the companies from China, even from the States, they are building a lot of awesome cars, electric cars, selling at very good prices, and they are like, what do we do now? Yeah, well, because when they had to do all those changes, they didn't because they were on a proper situation. So I expect that it's going to happen something similar to those companies. At some point in time, there's going to be a better framework that is going to destroy this kind of companies, or maybe not destroy, but maybe they reduce their business because the competitors, they are going to use ROS. If I had to compete with them, I would go directly to ROS because ROS is a framework that is for free. I don't have to create, I don't have to maintain. I just put it there and it works. Then also there is a lot of people, of engineers around the world that they know ROS. So I can hire them, and they already know how it works, and so on and so on. So advantages of ROS. So yeah, that's the reason. Business. Feel like I'm getting left behind in the robotics world, yet I really enjoy my job. Dallas. Oh, okay. Because you are working there, and then I understand that, Dallas, you are working at that company, and then what happens is that they are not learning the new technologies, and then you can see them passing, okay? Yes, okay. So if that is your situation, my recommendation would be go, and on your weekends or in the mornings, select even a small, short amount of time every day to study and practice with those technologies. Because then you will not be left behind. You will be on the top. You will be keeping, not on the top, but because you need more time for that, but you will keep in pace on that, and maybe another opportunity appears for you in, I don't know, in 2 years. I don't know. Is the certification from the masterclass recognized by robotics companies? Some of them yes, and some others don't. So I forgot to answer that before somebody else asks something similar. Yeah, so we are leaders in teaching about this kind of curriculum in the world. We are leaders, but many robotics companies, they don't know us. They don't know us, so they don't know about our certificate. Maybe they will think our certificate cannot compare with a university, okay? So the university automatically has higher status. So some companies, because they know us and they are companies based on ROS and so on, they know us and they say, oh, okay, those guys, yes, they produce good engineers. Actually, in our page, let me see if I can see our page. I can show here. I don't know if I can do this. And yeah, so in the Robotics Developers Masterclass, roboticsdeveloper.ai. So in this page, you can see some of our students. These are just a few, some examples, okay? And how they have been hired in different companies around the world, in different countries. By the way, this guy, for example, he was around 50. He's from Korea. And then this company is from Japan. And I remember, because I was his tutor. And then I remember well his case, because he went to do the internship into Korea. I told him, hey, you need to go there and into Japan. He's from Korea, went into Japan. And then I told him, hey, you need to go do an excellent internship and do your best there and see what happens. And then, so when he finished, the same company that did the internship hired him. So it was like that. For the others, they are different situations. And we have several of our students that happen like this. They go do the internship and then they get hired. Okay, a couple of questions more, and then we are going to finish. Let me see here. Elinso says, hey man, you're right, I am in my first year. I really want to learn all this fancy stuff, but I don't like Ubuntu. I like Arc, so I use Docker and install Ubuntu plus ROS. Is this approach correct? So I understand that you are using an Arc architecture, and then you are using Ubuntu plus ROS in a Docker. Yes, of course. Yes, so that's definitely, and then also you are practicing also using Dockers with different configurations. This is excellent. This is excellent. Each configuration has its drawbacks and its advantages. And you don't have to concentrate on, hey, this is a proper. It depends on the situation. If your computer you don't want to install Linux in your computer and you prefer doing by Docker. Perfect, excellent. We are using Dockers, for example, in robotics when you have a robot that doesn't have drivers for the Linux, for the ROS distro that we have in the computer. So we can create a Docker with a different distro inside and put the drivers in there and then they communicate one to another. Is that the proper way of doing it? I mean, I would prefer not to have this complexification, but if that is the way to do it and make it work, excellent, we've done it. At the end, we are engineers, and what we want is to make things work properly, and that's it. And so I had to use the tape, then here is the tape, okay? Tape. Does it work? Does it resist? Go, let's go, next one. So congratulations for your solution. Arrugadas. As an investor and someone who has spent their career in emerging tech in engineering leadership positions, I can promise you that internships are used to lower total salary comp. Yeah, yes, of course. You are talking from the point of view, I do agree, from the point of view of the company. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking for the guy. For the guy, this is an excellent opportunity to learn. And actually, the student, the intern, he has to decide if he is learning a lot and practicing a lot on that internship, and if it is not, just go out. It doesn't matter about the money, unless, I mean, if it's a year internship, okay, that's a lot. This is a lot. I'm talking about just a few months of internship. And from the intern perspective, that is the point, is go there, learn, practice, and show how good he is. Then if you work for companies that they are just getting one intern, another intern, because they don't care, then, okay, that's not possible to get a position, but you will get the learning. And if you don't get the learning, just go you yourself before they are, so the time passes of the internship. So if they are using only you only for moving papers from one side to another, that's pointless. The point is not to do an internship. The point is to practice your skills in a real environment while acquiring experience and demonstrating how good you are to the employer. This is the internship. Then, so Ethimon says, robotics is extremely challenging, multidisciplinary field. Does your course teach anything fresh except ROS to basics, like about NVIDIA Isaac Stack? So we have all the training. For example, next week, we have a humanoid reinforcement learning training at our facilities here, and we provide this also online, but this is not included into the Robotics Developers Masterclass. The Robotics Developers Masterclass is building your first, so the skills for getting your first job. So you cannot jump into reinforcement learning right now. You don't know anything. You need more months. Okay, so this is a program designed for 6 months only. So in 6 months only, we cannot fit reinforcement learning. We have extra programs for reinforcement learning, for artificial intelligence, and so on, but this is extra time, of course. And it's not ROS to basics and so on, okay? So we are applying, ROS to basics is learned on the first, let me show you, on the first, second, wait, let me see. No, ROS to basic, okay, let me click here. How can I? Okay, that's the presentation, yeah. So let me show here, yeah. So ROS to basics is only shown here. This is in this phase. And then we move into more complicated skills that require this. Then all the robotics theory, always is applying what you have learned in the previous steps, always. And then production tools for going to a job, a real job. And then finally, the final full project that integrates everything. Then, final question. Thank you so much for the advice. There is so many different skills to know to be a formidable robotics engineer. But I will practice in free time to keep pace, as you say, in case an opportunity appears. Well done. My best of luck. And then, just in case that you want to have more questions and to keep the discussion, join us on the, let me see, where is the Discord? Here. Okay, in case that we are going to be discussing here about job opportunities, how to switch from one place to another, specific situations of people, and so on. So you can join there, and then we continue the discussion. So let's keep it here. It says, Duarte says, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. I will see you in March. Oh, you are one of our students? Excellent. Excellent. So happy to meet you there. Okay, just one more question. Okay, yes, always happens like this. It's like when I feel myself like the singers. You know, when you go to a concert and then they finish and then they go, everybody, yes, excellent. And then they go, oh, another one. Yeah, that's another one. Let's go to that. Jen says, just one more question. Will the masterclass be mostly in C++ or Python? Yeah, good question. It's mostly in C++. Python is quite easy. You are going to learn Python also, but it's quite easy. And also, it's not that important for a robotics job. For a robotics job, you are going to need to have an excellent skills on C++. This is like the first requirements of all the companies that are looking for a guy for robotics. Python is also used, but if Python you are not excellent, nothing happens. You don't need to have excellent skills in Python in order to do reinforcement learning and all that. No. The important point in using Python for reinforcement learning is to know what you want to implement, not how to use it. That's very easy. But for C++, it's different. It's completely different. So you need to have very good skills in C++. So that's why we concentrate on C++. We have extra live classes in the masterclass. So even if the masterclass is self-paced, you get the materials, and then you get to sessions with your tutors. You have open hours to solve doubts in real time. But we also have extra live classes that are not mandatory. They are optional. But we highly recommend, because we know how difficult it is to learn C++ and also to master that language. So it's very, very important. And that's all for today. So let's finish here. Next week, we have another presentation, another webinar. I will let you know about the subject and the time, and see you there if you are interested. I wish you the best on your robotics career, and telling you, you can do it, okay? So now more than ever, if you want to switch careers, there are many options that I provide to you there. It doesn't have to be under our guidance. You can go by yourself, following all those different programs that I shown you on the screen. And I really know that you can do it if you put the effort. So go for it and let me know about your success in the future, okay? See you.